Today we talk about the Grey Havens, an expansion for the Lord of the Rings, the card game by Fantasy Flight Games, a recent expansion that comes with 3 adventures, so with 3 decks used to resolve the narrative in those adventures, in those scenarios, and a good number of player cards that you can add to your decks, heroes, allies, attachments, that sort of thing. The theme is unusual. The theme is a naval adventure. The heroes, controlled by the players, will sail across the seas, trying to reach an island. The heroes are working together with this guy here that, according to the background story, has had visions. There is a mysterious island that's haunting his dreams, and why not go and have a look and see if the island really exists, and what is the reason why it may be of interest to people from the other side of the sea. So, in the 3 scenarios that come with the game, in the first one, the players will need to reach the island, so they're sailing across the sea on their ships, and they're trying to dodge or defeat pirates that seem to have ideas about what should happen to the heroes. Then they reach the island. In the second scenario, they exploit the island, and in the third scenario, they need to preserve the means that they need to leave the island and go back home. And I'll tell you later what that means exactly. First thing, let's have a look at the cards that will go in your decks that can be used to enrich existing decks, that can be the backbone of a new deck. In any case, cards such as heroes, allies, attachments, events, that kind of thing, the cards that you will use. And I haven't played the game yet, but I decided that I'm gonna film this segment and we're gonna have a look at the cards together, because it's easier that way. After I play the game, these cards are gonna go in all places, they're gonna end up in different decks, and then it's gonna be much harder for me to retrieve them. This way we can have a look at all the cards. And of course then when we talk about the adventures, I'll film that part later after I have actually played the game. So let's have a look together at some of the guys and girls possibly that you find in this expansion. Here we have a hero that draws an additional card at the beginning of the resource phase. If you watch my video for the Angmar Awaken cycle, you know that I have a deck that I like very much. It is a Noldor and Sylvan deck that relies on getting extra cards and then spending them like crazy. This guy could be an interesting addition to that family, to that deck. Also, however, you also have to choose and discard one of those cards. We have another hero here, another Noldor. Just showing you the stats. After drawing your setup hand, instead of taking a mulligan, you may discard any number of cards from your hand, then draw that many cards. So you're picking mulligan. You get to choose what you want to keep and what you want to discard. But it's a one-time thing, of course. But if you have no cards in your hand, draw 6 cards. But again, this is once per game. Not bad, but I don't know, there's so many heroes that will give you a lot of stuff every turn or almost every turn. So here we have, well, first, beautiful art. This is really beautiful card. And we have a Sea Watcher, one of those fairly cheap allies that you need to send against the enemies, if nothing else, to throw them under the bus, to feed them to the monsters while the big allies are getting ready to join the fight. This effect here says, while the top card of your discard pile is an ally, and I can already tell you, I had a look at the cards before I started filming, and several cards have similar effects to this, while the top card of your discard pile, So they rely on specific timing about what goes on top of your discard pile. I like it, I guess. It has something to do thematically with the idea of the sea, the currents, floating things, changing. That you had to grasp the right moment, seize the moment when resources are there on top to be able to use them. I don't know, this idea of like things that come and go seems to me to fit the theme somehow. While the top card of your discard pile is an ally, then the Sea Watcher gets +2 attack and gains range. I mean, this is neat stuff. This is a really neat card for a fairly low price. Warden, here we have a Warden, a Noldor again, but with a different type of symbol from most other Noldor characters that usually are green or blue. While the top card of your discard pile is an attachment, the Warden gets +2 defense and gains Sentinel. So he specializes in attacking, this guy specializes in defending. Again, low price, but again, depending on your situation. An event, after an enemy is declared as an attacker against you, you declare an exhausted card you control as the defender. This is pretty neat. And you can read the rest of the text after you pause. I like this Carter. I can't wait to add her to my Noldor deck. She has Noldor and Scout, and the Linden Navigator does not exhaust to commit to a quest and can commit to quests while exhausted. After resolving a quest to which Linden Navigator was committed, either discard it from play or discard one card from your hand. So there is that neat thing. Oh, this one is another one that seems neat. Action, place 2 progress on any location, resolve the effect again for each copy of the Evening Star currently in your discard pile. Again, this will go well with game effects that allow you to discard cards, precisely like some of the heroes, like this guy does, and some of the heroes that I already have do. Sailor of Loon, another ally. Low cost, low stats, and however, again, an improvement that comes based on what is on top of your discard pile, this time extra wisdom, and cannot be damaged while committed to the quest. I mean, this is a pretty good, pretty sweet ability. Quest action, ready a questing Carter and give the Carter +1 wisdom. Song, you attach it to an older Carter, so make sure you have several. You exhaust it and discard X card from your hand to reduce the cost of the next Noldor ally. Naria, which is a ring, but it's very specific. Either you attach it to him or to Gandalf. So I don't know that I wanted to commit to something that's specific, even though, as you can read from the text, it is a neat ability. But again, it's very situational. That you will need it exactly, and will allow you to do this or not. Exhaust. I mean, you need to place it in a deck that has been specifically designed to take advantage of that. You exhaust it and attach Carter, can choose and ready up to 2 allies, and this is, well, this is neat, but again, it's a big commitment. This maybe will never show up in the deck, or anyway. So, I don't know, actually, now that I think about it, maybe I'll try it. We had the Explorer's Almanac. Attach a location in the staging area, progress from questing successfully, may be placed on the attached location before it is placed on the current quest. And then we have not many more stuff. And we have the Compass. That gives an advantage in the travel phase, allows you to search the top 5 cards of the encounter deck. The Hook, and discards Grappling Hook and exhausts the attached Carter to commit the card to the quest using Battle instead of Wisdom. That gives you some flexibility there. And here there is a card that is pretty expensive because, well, you have the cost, which is not that bad, but you also need to exhaust a ranged Carter that you control. However, look at the effect. Deal 2 damage to an enemy engaged with a player, resolve that effect again for each copy of Skyward Volley currently in your discard pile. So it can be potentially very good, but you have to commit to it because you have to chain off the effects. You have to amplify the effect by having multiple ones. Per se, it's not all that good. I don't know that it's worth to spend a Carter and resource points for that. But if you commit to this, then can be something interesting here. So even before trying, it seems like an interesting combo of things, like an interesting collection of effects that definitely look thematically. These effects definitely look thematically, definitely seem to have to do with fluctuating circumstances and with changing circumstances in the game. Now, these scenarios. First, the scenario where the players are sailing, helping him to reach the island. One thing that I can show you without giving you too many spoilers about the quest deck, you have a 1 level card, but then you have a lot of level 2, and they're all marked 2A. because it's hard to map the sea. Things do not necessarily happen in an order that you can predict. You can't expect the mountain to be in a position and the forest in another one. So as you play the game, you will explore some of these locations that represent events and not other. And so there's a good replay value because not all cards will be used in all scenarios. They may not occur in the same order. Fun stuff. And then at the end you will have to defend yourself against Corsairs, which is a fancy word for pirates. To do so, to travel in the seas, the players will need a ship. So this is a scenario that adds quite a bit of extra rules. And so it's of all the scenarios that they played in the Lord of the Rings, the card game is the one that adds the biggest number of unique rules. The Dream Chaser is a ship that will always need to be in the game. That's the ship where the heroes are mainly traveling, or say the primary group of heroes. If you're playing with multiple players, then other players also get a ship, but this one needs to be included in the game. As you can see, ships pretty much look like allies. They have the same kind of stats. They also have some other abilities, and they also have a card that indicates how good they're doing, that is, whether they are on course or slightly off course or really off course or OMG, what the heck are we even doing? So there's this card here that you use to track the state of the ship relative to the destination they're trying to reach. There will be game effects that will force you to turn this card, indicating increasingly worse conditions, indicating that they're not making any progress towards that destination. And there will be tests that you can take by committing characters to do precisely so, to improve the situation of the ship, and therefore to flip back this card. So you use this card, you place it under one of the ships in your fleet, and you use it to keep track of that effect. And then, well, you will have enemies and players of that kind, and you will have actually two types of enemies. One will be enemy ships that will attack your ships, and one will be pirates that will attack the players directly. So actually there will be two different and separate decks of encounters, one having ships, events, weather-related conditions, and from time to time those cards will instruct you to draw a card from this other deck or multiple cards. When the pirates arrive, you'll know it from this deck, and you will use this deck to resolve the effects of the attack. So this is for the scenario, the initial scenario of the three, the one where you're traveling. It's a good scenario, but not my favorite in the set, and not my favorite in the overall offer of expansions for Lord of the Rings, the card game. It's good, but it does add quite a bit of complexity. That's so many extra steps. That's, well, I don't know that it's all that worth it. The increase in complexity and steps does not necessarily, to me, translate into an equal increase in the fun. It may be that the other scenarios are just so fun, and so many other scenarios in the game are super fun with much less extra rules, so that for that reason this scenario seemed to me, I don't know, less engaging than it could have been. It seems like there's a lot of work that you need to do to get something new. Well, for sure, something very thematic too, but I don't know, a little too much work to me. Exploit the island, definitely my favorite scenario. Now, finally, the players have explored the island, and so they're going around, guess what, the island. And to simulate the fact that the island is made of locations that you do not know, they look all the same to you, you have this deck of cards. And what you're looking at right now, technically, is the back of the cards. I know it doesn't look like it is, right? But quickly, flashed that quickly. Once more. No spoilers. So basically, you will have these locations that are on the board, that are in the staging area, and you can add quest tokens to them. And the card tells you that when you have 4 tokens there, you can remove the progress and look at it. basically you're trying to explore these locations here. You will have your quest deck representing the island, and you will select these locations from the staging area. You will resolve them. When you flip them face up, then you learn the number of quest tokens that you need to resolve it. And once that is resolved, then the quest tokens go on the progress tokens go on the quest card. Otherwise, you cannot place them. The rule is that you have to do it through game effects. And basically, you're trying to look for specific locations. So you may go randomly, simply, let's try to explore this area of the island, looks good enough. Boom. Or you may spend progress tokens to look at the cards and look for the specific locations that you need to complete the adventure. Fun. I like the fact that, well, it's similar to the other scenario. You do have two decks, one for the main adventures, enemies, and bad stuff, and I like the enemies, undead. Yeah, recently they played the Angmar Awakened cycle, lots of undead people there, but I don't know, undead people, undead monsters never get old. To me, bring more, I'll play. So you have a deck of encounters and monsters, and then you have another deck that you will use to represent the uncharted areas. I like this fact that you can choose just to rush to new areas, no idea, hope you get lucky and find the location, or spend tokens and have a look at the location so that you can target specific locations. And you need to find a specific location to complete this scenario. Then, yeah, hooray, the island was explored, the key location was found, time to go back on the boats and on the ships and go back home. Yes, if only your ships weren't burning. The third scenario tells you the story of a corsair attacks, and these corsairs are really not particularly nice. What they're doing, what they did is they set your fleet on fire. So now you're fighting against them. You're fighting against them as they try to keep you busy and well, to kill you pretty much so they can steal your stuff. You're seeing in the background your ships that are burning, that are set on fire. And in fact, there are cards here that have the A flame effect. It's pretty much like a time effect. You will place tokens here to indicate how much time the item on the card has been burning. There are game effects that will make the fire burn more fiercely, and so will add more A flame tokens. And when a card has reached its maximum number of A flame tokens, as indicated there, the card, boom, is gone, is burned, is destroyed, and goes under this card here, which you use to keep track of the number of cards, that is, the number of ships, the number of resources that have become useless. And if there are X or more cards underneath the Haven's Burn, the Corsairs have destroyed the Elven fleets and the players lose the game. So you really have a sense of urgency here. You really need to complete your quest and defeat this assault before it's too late. You may also choose to redirect resources and game effects to slow down this disaster. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. There are many scenarios in Lord of the Rings, the card game, that are combat oriented, and this one is one of them. But this idea here adds a whole new dimension, different flavors, sense of like really thrilling sense of urgency. You're rushing through the deck, you're rushing desperately, trying to kill everybody, summon as many allies as you can, as you are in horror witnessing your ships that go down and turn into charcoal one after the other. Fun, exciting, thrilling, challenging. Not too much, it's not super challenging, but challenging enough. And just the overall fact that you're seeing your ships bursting into flames in the background, that adds a lot of excitement and fun to this scenario. I really like it. So, in conclusion, we talked about the cards, the new cards that you get in the scenarios, and that I wouldn't be able to retrieve right now because they're scattered across various decks that I have. But I like the new cards. After playing with the new cards, I can tell you that the Navigators and all those cards I showed you earlier, those cards that you need to have a specific card on top of your deck, of your discard pile, for a certain effect to trigger. They are fun, they are nice. The Navigator, the Navigator that I showed you is a really nice card. I really like the fact that she can be committed to a quest without being exhausted, and however, if you want to keep her around, you also need to discard a card. And since I place her in my Noldor Sylvan deck with the characters that can produce extra cards, that burn cards, together with other characters in the deck that have similar abilities, she usually has fuel to keep going. So a really nice card, feels very thematic. The new characters I really like, the new allies I really like, the new resources are fun. And the adventures, I really like all of them. This one is a little less interesting to me, as I said, many moving parts, with an increment in the fun, of course, but maybe does not correspond to all the extra work of having to keep track of the ship and the moving and the off course, on course, etc., etc., etc. The pirates that come, etc. Thematic and good. Good, nothing wrong with it. But to me, the scenario doesn't shine nearly as much as the Explore the Land scenario and the Corsair Assault. One is pretty much Indiana Jones, is set in the world of Lord of the Rings. The other one is a disaster movie set in the world of Lord of the Rings. Is the place is burning, and there are bad guys in it. The disaster is not enough. You also had the bad guys. These are excellent scenarios. These are really excellent adventures. I like them a lot. Challenging, but not too much. So even if you are kind of new to the game, these are scenarios that are playable, that are reasonable. Some of the scenarios in the game are much tougher. Lord of the Rings, The Grey Havens, a recent expansion for the Lord of the Rings, the card game. Enjoy it. I enjoyed it. I enjoy it very much. I recommend it to players that are already fans of the game. It's new, it's fresh, it's different from the other expansions precisely because the theme, the setting is so different, is so unique. Definitely a good expansion.